This is episode 4.
In the year 2047.
Yes.
In the year 2722.
No, you do it.
In the year.
Fetty Wap on the JBL.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. So good. What's your next topic, man?
Yeah, let's go have injury talk because it's
it's a disclaimer to everyone.
Yeah, if you're like watching the episode, it's probably squirming
For the
at home.
queasy.
I know we did like 20 minutes on injuries in the last episode too.
Oh, did we? Oh, we're becoming injury guys.
My old lady hip. Now we're talking about.
We got to talk about some
chopping
uplifting
all my
stuff.
limbs off.
What's happy-go-lucky things to save the day?
Truth.
Happy.
What are you looking at me
things.
for,
I'm
man?
I know. I'm like,
You're the one with the laptop.
is anyone here happy?
There's nothing on the laptop, guys.
He's been watching Pornhub this whole time. So.
I'm gonna read out to everybody the 3 things that are written on the word pad here.
Let's
Bartending,
hear 'em.
which we already covered.
We nailed it.
Past jobs, which we already covered.
Kinda, yeah.
Gross people eating.
Wait, is that actually a thing?
I swear to God, that's what the third thing
This
is.
is such like a iCarly Nickelodeon thing. Gross people eating.
Gross people eating.
It's just the Punisher with the slime.
Which I wrote there before we started this because we were talking about something
Uh-oh.
that I was like, this will remind me of that. And when I wrote it, Brant said, you're never going to remember what that means.
I do remember though.
I
do
do
remember.
I want to take a guess.
legitimately
Is
don't
this
remember what
like
it was.
people who are physically gross eating food or people who are grossly eating food?
No,
No, I don't remember. I don't think it has anything to do with any of it, to be honest.
Oh, this is even
movie
more
trailer
beautiful.
voice. It's us eating off people's plates.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right?
That is
yeah.
that. Yeah.
So, in the service industry, how low do you go when it comes to...
Never.
Never.
Only
No,
if I
wrong
know
answer,
them.
wrong
Yeah.
answer. When it comes to eating
Wrong
off
answer.
someone else's plate, how low do you go?
How low?
I'm going to say I'll go low.
Will you go low?
I'll
you
go
get
low.
you get right in that pasta.
I'll go low, man. Like you said, if it's someone you kind of know, like
Yeah.
they're regulars or whatever, it's like they leave half a sandwich, half a pizza.
I would
Well,
do
I
that.
mean,
I wouldn't do that.
I think
Why
those are
not,
different,
man?
No.
I would if I knew them and they were like, "Yo, have this," and it was like a bruschetta piece or a pizza piece that I know they didn't get their fingers on.
I know this makes no sense, but if it was like a friend or a family member, I would do it. But some regular, I would be like, nah.
No,
Even if
I'll-
I knew them well, still
no,
wouldn't do
Dude,
it.
man. I'm telling you, like,
But like if it was your food, I'd be like, yeah,
No, but
whatever,
there's
it's
like some
Brant.
regulars, like you come in and if they're cool and clean, and you're like,
Yeah.
even if you're like being in the presence of
it's
the food isn't
situational.
gross.
totally.
Because you are right. Because some people might usually be like the way you're
Dude,
breathing.
I'm
I
not
would
even
wanna
kidding
eat
you.
your food.
I used to work with this guy who like would clear a plate off a table, just bring it to the back.
I don't like
Before
where this is
he scraped it
going.
into the garbage, would like pick off a couple
Savage.
or whatever, and be like, "Oh, they
Attaboy.
didn't even eat it," and like put it on the table and just start eating it. And I'd be all the time be like, "That is disgusting."
I
dude."
love
like
how
I
filthy
literally
that
would be
man
like, "No, it's not. It's what's wrong with it? It's just whatever." And I'm like, "You're just eating it. You're eating a stranger's food.
I
That's
love some people like
horrific.
skewed
I
reality.
mean, I think about it. Like tonight, there was like someone had the pork tenderloin or whatever. And
Yeah.
like, fuck, those potatoes look good.
dude. I've
want
been
just
hungry.
one
I know what you mean
potato,
sometimes.
man.
You know, I'd be
They're tempted- they don't
lying.
even
I'd be
touch 'em.
lying if I say I never thought about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking about it and doing it are
Yeah.
two different things.
Okay,
Oh,
okay,
100%.
but no, hear me out.
Like murder.
no murder. Hear me out. They ordered the sandwich. There's 2 slices distinctly sliced
Yep.
apart. They eat half
With
of it.
fork and knife.
Yes.
Sneezed on the other half, and then was
You
like,
don't
"I'm all
know
done with
that.
this." Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. I don't know that,
That's
and I ain't rolling the dice.
Ignorance is bliss.
Chuck D and
buddy.
rolling dice,
Ignorance
man.
is
I like
bliss,
that.
man, right? So
Now you got
anyway,
a scavy sandwich, in
Buddy,
your
but
mouth.
Well,
like-
isn't it like if you go to a buffet and everyone's just kind of over everyone's shit? Like,
Same
yeah,
idea.
you know what?
Same thing.
You're,
isn't it?
you're honestly so right.
buffets
the buffet's
are
probably
bad, though.
worse.
Oh, I heard buffets are nasty. Actually, I just seen something the other day.
Dude, I believe it.
Gross,
and I
gross
love
AF.
a good buffet. Dude.
Fuck.
where's a good buffet? That's an oxymoron.
Mandarin, bro. They don't have those in Nova Scotia though, which is a goddamn crime.
Interesting. There was
Mandarin.
a
Oh my god.
yeah. I'll keep
Oh,
that in
dude.
mind.
It's a buffet that has everything.
Where's
Technically-
this? Ontario?
They're in Ontario. I think they're in the States and all over Canada, to be honest. Just Nova Scotia's balls, so we don't have any here.
Yeah.
But it's essentially a Chinese buffet, but they have everything. You can go to Mandarin and get like Chinese food. You can get sushi. You can get pizza.
yes,
you can get like
yes,
prime
yes.
rib. If
I
there's,
feel like I
if there's
remember
a type
that.
of food you can think of,
Yeah.
they serve it.
I've
And it's all-
been there,
the
but
buffet's
yes,
huge,
I've been
man.
there.
It's crazy.
There's something, man. I don't know. Have you guys ever been to this completely kind of off topic? It's like Sobeys or Superstore. They have the open olive bars.
Yeah.
You ever see them?
I've
I find
seen
those so
those, yeah, with
nasty.
the
There's
glass.
nothing covered. I'm like,
I know.
No,
why?
so gross. Yeah.
And it's disgusting. Anyways, kind of quickly looping in. I just seen a thing. There was a Japanese study where they wanted to show how quick a virus could spread, but it was in a restaurant-based thing.
Oh.
So they put highlighter green, this green thing that when they turn the lights off black, you can see the green in this guy's hand, and then they did a whole buffet style. And you should have seen this green liquid. It was on like people's faces
Everywhere.
just from touching the fucking thing, and then everyone would scoop the same thing, touch the plate, but it was on people's hands, on people's mouths, all over the fucking place.
Ew.
It was to show how fast germs can spread.
Yeah.
But it just happened to be a buffet style theme.
Isn't that Mythbusters?
Was it Mythbusters?
Yeah, totally.
Oh.
They have like a nose drippy like tube attached to his face with
Ew.
like a infrared.
It was infrared, but this was like they were completely Japanese. Or
Okay, yeah.
Maybe they
definitely did that
replicated
on,
it.
Yeah, Mythbusters.
Oh, wow.
He had like a tube with like a drip that was like on the side of his face.
Yeah.
And just basically like to represent a runny nose, basically, but it was like an incandescent liquid or whatever.
Yeah. It was
And
an
then it
incandescent
just
liquid.
interacted with the people normal dimmer party,
Yeah.
and then they shut the lights off, and we're just like, okay, here's
Oh.
where his bacteria is. The entire fucking room had like.
So they did the same thing. Yeah, exactly. So that's the exact same thing.
Disgusting,
But this is
bro.
what I mean. Like, kind of, I guess, tying into food. You never know what someone's coming in with. If the plate's in front of them, it's going to get cooked.
And that is why we are coming out of a pandemic where the entire world shut down.
Truth. Well, that's, you know what I mean? It's the small stuff, man. You don't realize, though, like, how fast germs. That's why you got to be clean. And actually, I guess that kind of
Dude,
goes to, like,
having kids makes you think.
have kids.
But you know what? It also builds up your immunity, dude.
I was going to say that because, like,
real.
you don't think, like, everyone's touching their plates and shit, and then we grab those same plates, and if you don't wash your hands right after, I heard, like,
You don't have time
I
to.
is notorious for it. I know you don't, but even sometimes I think about it, and I'm like, yo, I'm just grabbing this person's glass who just, like, manhandled it and
Yeah.
they're doing all kinds of crazy
Yeah.
shit, and then
Yeah.
I have to put it out back. I'm like, yo, I'm about to cut fruit and juice people's shit. Like, I would.
Dude, you know how many times I throw a fork in the cutlery bin and the water splashes in my mouth? There's like, I just had
hate
everybody
that.
in town's mouth in my mouth.
That's mouth science, my friend.
That's it. That is the science of the mouth.
That's
Yeah.
some good science. Man.
Dirty mouth water.
You know what I hate though when you go to take someone's wine glass and
Yeah.
like on the glass is like you see it's a fucking mucked of their fingers.
Like they just ate chicken wings
Yeah,
or something.
yeah,
Dude, it's so gross.
It's so
seen that.
gross
That's so
because the
nasty.
wine glass is such an
Okay.
elegant.
Speaking
delicate
of
thing,
speaking
right?
of
It is.
that,
Yeah, they fucked that shit
And
up.
they
this
fucked
is one of
it
my biggest pet peeves in the service industry.
Let's hear it.
Clearing wine glasses off the table. Like, oh,
Yeah.
nobody's having wine. Let me clear those up. I'm picking
clean
them up,
ones,
putting
right?
them all
Yeah.
under my
Oh,
hand.
I think
and
that's the
there's one on
dumbest
the other
thing.
side of the table, and I go to grab it, and somebody goes, "Here you go," and just grabs it right by the
Oh,
freaking
Yeah,
face.
it's like
and
we're
hands
gonna
it to
we're gonna
me.
have to
And you're like,
wash
I'm
that
just
one
like-
now. Yeah,
You just put your fingerprints all over that polished wine
Yeah.
glass.
Yeah.
That's cooked.
Grab it by the stem, you savage.
Savage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have some class.
Have some claws.
remember you and I, Joel? We would do like, what's your go-to hold for the wine glass?
yeah, yeah.
We need to find a wine glass to demonstrate.
Yeah, we all had like a different
Hold it
hole.
on the stem
Yeah,
or
with the-
whatever,
hold it like the
on
straight flat
base or
fingers.
whatever,
Yeah.
The goblet.
My buddy Chad
Yeah.
does like the Spider-Man fingers where it's like between the two. Yeah. It's the dirtiest wine glass hold you can do and
Yeah.
get away with drinking.
I used to work at this restaurant where we'd have to hold the wine glass like by
The
the,
yeah.
base. Like
Yeah, I know exactly
Like
what you're
that.
talking
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just hold.
Yeah, exactly. How could you drink with
How do you
what's the
drink
dirtiest
that
hold you
one?
can get away with?
Yeah.
the most pretentious fucking hold in the world.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're after.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, now we have to hit a pose.
Dude, I crack up when people like sniff the wine when I like, oh, taste it for me. And
Smells like
Buddy,
cherry and
okay,
currant.
dude.
this to
Okay.
me this could be a whole new episode, but like when you do the bottle opening and you're doing the wine tasting for a guest
Yeah.
and it's like they're like, no, we've had this wine before. It's not about that.
No, no.
You've had this
No.
wine before.
Yo,
yeah.
Have you
Okay.
had this bottle before?
Hey, speaking of
So
which,
true.
I had a table like
So true.
yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
That exactly that was.
They
Like,
always say that.
they're like, can we try the wine first? So I brought them a taster.
Of
They
course.
tasted it, like it's so good. We're
Yeah.
gonna have a bottle. I bring
Yeah.
the bottle over, and I'm like, okay. And I go, and who wants to taste this? Like, no, we just tried it. We're good. I'm like, you did not try this bottle.
You
No.
have not tried
You
this.
did not
Yeah.
try it because this bottle is not open.
When someone argued,
Yeah.
they argued that with me once, and I had to
Yeah.
explain some bottles get funky.
That's what I said.
And
I was
as
like,
a person who tries this
good
quite
way
a bit,
to
I'm
say
like,
it, yeah.
no, I just let them know. I'm like, it gets corked sometimes, and it will taste like vinegar. So your taste test is to make sure that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not just being
That's
a jerk.
exactly what I said.
Well,
I was
I-
like, I just want you to taste it to make sure that this bottle's okay. And they were like, oh, yeah. I was like,
Well, people don't
Come
understand shit can happen to wine bottles.
And I always say too, they're like, "Well, what if it's bad or whatever?" Then I'm like,
Then you
"Then
don't
I
drink it
didn't
and I
waste
bring you
my
another."
time pouring this whole bottle to your whole table of 6.
That's a
And
good
have
point.
to
I could
clear
just go
all
get
the-
you a new bottle."
That's actually a great
and
point.
one new glass instead of 6
yeah,
glasses.
exactly. Like people's, I mean,
Yeah.
I can't.
I know.
You
Everyone's
can't fault
experience
people.
are different.
It's okay.
I
You're
know.
new to it. Whatever.
Yeah,
It's
you
just-
have no class.
Well,
You
that's the thing.
understand.
The thing is, but it's people who
Peasants.
act like they really know wine and they don't know why that's a thing.
Yeah, and they're
that's
like,
what's
we've
confusing.
had this before. It's like,
All we drink is
So-
wine. We have a winery in the basement.
or if it's a screw cap, and it's like people are like, well, it can't be corked. It's a screw cap. You know what? It still suffers the same fate.
Well,
you know?
to be honest, screw caps are so much better than corks now because
Yeah, and
the
people-
Real?
because technology.
well, it tightens
Dude,
it harder.
it tightens it way
right?
harder.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that screw caps were invented
But-
because it's a better technology. Than
Well,
cork.
also
didn't know
because
that.
cork is like running. It's like a very finite resource, I guess. Right now, they're running out of cork, but like. People see screw caps still as like, oh, that's
Cheap
like a
wine comes in a
superior
screw.
wine,
Yes.
or an
Even
inferior
I
wine.
didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
thought it was. Oh,
Yeah.
That is
No,
not-
no.
no, that is not the
No,
case
it's
at
not
all
true
anymore.
anymore.
interesting.
A lot of wineries are steering away from corks, like you said. It's harder to come by. They're more expensive.
More expensive.
And to be honest, sealed screw cap seals the wine better, and it ages better and longer.
Cool. Didn't know, if
Exactly,
you're listening now, you're getting educated,
Yeah,
son.
wine top.
Wine talk,
I'll talk that wine all day.
right?
Yeah.
That's actually pretty tight, though. I did not. That's tight, pun intended.
Yeah, so it's good for you too. If someone's gonna be like, oh no, we've had, it's fine, just pour it.
So I've had this one before.
Buddy, when people are like gonna be ignorant about stuff, that's my time. I love to get really like
Thick in it, eh?
No, I get fucking like, what's the word for it? Where you're like, just like not a dick.
Horny?
No.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm thinking of something else, I guess. I don't know.
No, you can just take that time to be really patronizing towards people. Where they're like, oh no, we've had this one before. Oh, have you? Oh, have you really? Have you had this bottle before? Let's just taste it. Let's taste it together.
How have you had it before? Because
You
it's
know.
not open yet.
It's not even open.
It's not open, so I don't know how you had it.
Yeah.
Is it empty?
Yeah. Oh no, we love this wine. Oh, good.
Cool.
Good.
Cool.
So you're still gonna try this
Yeah.
bottle.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're gonna enjoy
You're
it.
gonna enjoy.
You know what's beautiful though when they don't believe you and you pour it and they're like, well, you're right. This is off actually.
I
You're
hate-
like,
I
I've had
hate-
that happen twice.
I hate when people
It does
do
that.
that. The smelling it is annoying when they go. Like, what are you doing?
We have this all the time. It doesn't taste right.
Whatever.
There was one time we cracked an Amarone, and it did taste off. And I even was like, "This does taste weird." Kind of
It
manager, and it was
happens, yeah.
just bad grapes or something. Who knows? But it can happen. But the point is, that's why you taste test.
Yeah.
because that's $100 bottle that you're about to drink.
I remember I ordered. It was a Sauvignon Blanc or something, and it came up in the window, and it wasn't you working, Joel, but it was like it came up in the window, and like it looked like that. Like picture a Sauvignon Blanc, but it looks like a fucking whiskey. It was brown, and I said, "That's not right." And
No.
sure enough, you smell it. Disgusting. You taste it. Don't taste it.
It's
Disgusting.
that bad, eh?
It was so off. And I
That's
was
scary
like,
that the
"Hey,
grape color was different.
Get a different bottle.
it happens,
Yeah.
though, right? That's
Yeah.
just because of didn't ferment right.
The
or-
oxidization.
Oh, yeah,
oxidizes
not-
the
yeah.
cork.
I
would.
love it,
Yeah.
man.
Dude, I had a buddy of mine who was like a level 4 sommelier, like legit, like went to school for it, knew
Yeah.
everything there was to know about wine. His knowledge was like insane.
Yeah.
But some of the shit he would say to me, sometimes I would just laugh. Like he would taste
Like, what are we
wine.
talking?
Well, he would like taste a wine, and we'd like start talking about like tasting it. He'd be like, when you like go into a forest and like you smell like the moss on the rocks, and he's like, I'm getting notes of like that.
peat? We're talking
And, like,
peaty?
Alpine
But he would like
moss.
talk about like
On the
and I was like, are you just walking through forest like licking rocks, bro? Like, why do you know what that
Yeah,
tastes like?
that's
Like,
so funny.
I eat pieces of shit like you
Yeah.
for breakfast.
Yeah.
You eat shit for breakfast?
It's
part of the
so
training.
funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
just
Part
like
of the
random
job.
shit he would say, but
Yeah.
like it was crazy though. I guess like certain levels of being a sommelier, you have to go through these tests to get each level.
Yeah.
And like it was like level 4 or whatever. He had to like take like 10 glasses of water. And it was like a blind test, and you put like 1 drop of lemon in one drop of lemon,
Yeah,
2,
yeah.
3 drops, 4 drops, etc. And he had to like drink each glass of the water and like be like and
How many
answer
drops
how
are
many
in
drops
it,
of lemon
yeah.
are in it, So you're
Crazy.
testing your knowledge of like acidity,
Yeah.
right?
Oh wow.
Yeah, is what it is
Yeah,
for.
that's some strong taste buds.
Yeah,
That's
and
some
he
mouth
was like, he
science,
could, like,
my man.
nail it, bro. Like it was crazy the shit he could do because he was like fully trained for it.
Yeah, that's actually pretty impressive.
But also hilarious because like sometimes he would talk about like tasting notes, like 99.9% of the time. Oh yeah, notes of vanilla or leather, right? And that's what I
Oh,
tell
yeah,
people.
leather.
Random shit you make up and whatever, right?
Well, there's-
this guy would go so far into the bit, like again, like walking through the forest. It's a Tuesday morning. The dew is running up the trees. The birds
Full
are
moon.
chirping. I'm like, how do you
Yeah.
taste chirping birds, dude? That makes no sense.
Their essence is
Yeah,
captured within
yeah.
this bottle. Okay,
Yeah, I'm
that's
like, what? I'm like, I'm so like, you're romanticizing it.
Well, there are like I think they're called master sommeliers, and I think there's only like 50 or 60 in the whole world.
yeah.
And they are the ones that like you could give them a Bordeaux or something, and they would say, well, you would give them the wine and like
They could
blindly,
tell you,
and they'd be like, yeah, this is
what
a
region,
Bordeaux
what
from
year.
yeah, exactly
That shit's
from
crazy.
I've
Yeah.
seen one of the championships.
Yeah.
I just watched it on like
It's
TikTok
mind-boggling.
highlight.
Yeah.
I was
It's
like, what?
crazy, dude.
yeah.
But it's crazy to kind of the human testament of like when you actually focus so much on something, like you're
I
focusing
love
on your
that.
taste buds.
I love that, and you can
Yeah.
apply it to any aspect,
That-
music or
anything.
bartending.
Yeah, when you
or
humans are meant to
anything, yeah.
hyper focus. Like and
Yeah.
they get dangerous.
I mean, you kind of get into that like autistic territory too, but
Yeah.
it's like I kind of envy that. I was like, I wish I was that focused on one thing where it's like my passions are all over the place. If I could have just narrowed into
That's
one
just called
thing.
ADD. I
What?
have that too. I said that's just called ADD.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like
I have it too. Focus on 50 things at once.
what are you good
Yeah.
at? What are you good at?
Nothing.
Oh, ADD's the opposite.
ADD,
Where
yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
I'm good at nothing. I do 50 things.
Yeah.
I know.
half-assed.
Yeah.
I was saying to someone on the
I'm pretty okay
today.
at a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Not really great at
No,
any of it though.
but you never get the chance, man, because you got to work. Like we just talked
Yeah.
about, you got to work on
Yeah.
your injury, you got to work on your job. You never get just unfiltered time to
I
like
know.
do you, which is so annoying. I think that's the biggest problem as a musician. If you want to do music and you just never get the time to do it, it's like
Music's not
everything else.
enough. It's like you need to focus on the instrument. You need to focus on the genre. You need to focus.
I
on
also
True,
get bored
good
super
point,
easy. Like
yeah, fair.
I switch instruments all the time. The reason I started playing drums is because I got to a point at guitar where I'm not saying I'm like amazing or anything, but good enough that I was like
Yeah.
bored with learning stuff.
Yeah.
That's
I
fair.
got to a point where like I was gigging enough and learning enough songs that it was like, okay, it's to a point where anything I want to learn, I know that I could.
right.
Not that I can play everything, but I know if I really wanted to learn something, I could. So there's not as much of a challenge there anymore. I'm not struggling with it,
That's cool.
right? And then I was like, what's really hard is drumming. And that's what was like super interest me about playing the drums and learning to play the drums. It was like, I suck at this so bad. How am I going to get better? For me, the learning curve is like the most rewarding part.
Oh, for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah, when you
Well,
start something
isn't
new.
there something like that where it's like it's 90% is like super easy and then like the last 10 is like really hard and it like curves off, and that's why I think it's
I mean, for guitar, I think the first 10% was the hard part, and then after that, once you like even to learning to like sing and play at the same time, for years I could never do it. I could
Really?
like my brain and my hands just couldn't connect, and then one day, I don't know, I just learned a song that I could do it to, and something just like snapped
disconnect.
in
Really?
my head, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I get it.
no way.
Yeah.
I understand how to multitask my hands and mouth at the same time. Same with drumming.
Oh, cool.
Forever, my hands and my feet were like my feet were on fucking strings. I'd hit the hi hat and then there goes the bass drum.
Oh, yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like I literally and to separate keeping a beat with my feet and doing my hands a different thing.
Like an
Took
octopus, man.
forever, dude. But as soon as I figured out how to
Yeah.
do it, it was like, oh, I get it.
You know what the thing
You
is?
rewire
though?
your brain different. It's
Yeah,
right
and
into
then
my
it's just like
That,
you just
but, like,
understand.
being a musician, and it's like you kind of have to learn it all, because I found playing drums and being a drummer helped with piano, because now
It helped my
your
guitar
bass
playing so
hand
much.
is doing different than your
The
upper
timing.
hand.
Oh,
Same
good
with
point.
drumming as
Yeah.
well. You're doing different things, so it's
Learning to play drums improved my timing
like
on
the
guitar.
skills kind of do transfer
tenfold.
over a
Yeah.
little bit.
True.
Yeah.
That's a good point, actually.
And guitar too. Again, you're doing two very
Yeah.
different things with your hands, and
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
helpful.
piano and guitar are essentially the same instrument. One just has keys, and the other one.
Well,
is
piano is
strings.
actually very nice for songwriting
Yeah.
because everything's laid out so nicely.
Yeah.
Whereas guitar, it's not as straightforward, right?
Yeah.
It's a little more cryptic. Whereas piano, it's like you got your white keys, that's your C major, and then the black keys are your sharps
Yeah.
and flats. So it's
But the
like,
one thing I always struggled with guitar wise before I really got into drumming was timing. And then once I figured out, being consistently
Rhythm
okay at drums,
yeah,
my rhythm, I actively noticed, like, man, I'm like, my rhythm hand just like night and day.
Yeah, drumming is different too, though, where you don't have to worry about melody or the notes and stuff. You're focused on the rhythm of it.
Yeah, but also you're, especially in a full band setting, you're keeping
you're
everybody,
the backbone.
You're
Yeah.
keeping
You
if
are
you're
the
off, it fucks
backbone.
everything up, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so it's like it's very difficult in that sense because you just have to be you're almost ahead of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. To the point where, like, when I would compose like electronic music, I would start with the drums. I'm like, I'm gonna do a beat and then like add the melody after.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Right.
I find that really difficult when I'm like trying to like create or write anything, just because I always come up with the guitar line or something first, and then would add a beat onto it afterwards. So to just come up with a beat and then put, like, I found it very hard to go the other way. Like to do a beat and then be like, okay, now I can put this guitar line over it. I would like, my brain wouldn't even be able to wrap my head around. But to have a guitar line and then play drums over top of that.
But that becomes like what your music is focused around. Like, are you rhythm based, where it's like, okay, like the drums are the center focus?
I've never been a lead guitar player.
Or are you like a
in
melody
band.
guy
I've
where
always
it's
been
like,
the
okay, the
rhythm
guitar or piano comes first,
point.
and like the melody is important, right? So I think for you, Joel, it's probably like you start with the piano house. It's like you do the melody and then the drums kind of come after. Probably you'd say.
I honestly I think kick hat clap has to come first.
Oh
you have
yeah,
to
so
fit
you go
into the
drums
groove.
first, then okay.
Yeah, you have to fit into the swing
Yeah.
of people dancing, and
Right.
then build around that.
So the melody you'd say is kind of like less important almost.
It would be second, but if you're not hitting, if your piano doesn't hit that dance, then you're cooked.
Yeah,
So
you
you're
gotta
like,
fit
what's the
in
main
there.
goal? Dance. So swing.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
fit
yeah.
in there.
Yeah, where the
Bam,
rhythm
bam,
becomes
boom,
more.
boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rhythm, then melody. So they kind of have to go hand in hand. I got to find a cool melody, and then I got to play it cool so that it matches those.
I find
pockets.
dance is so different because it's like the rhythm is what locks people into it. They want their body to kind of flow with it. But
Whereas
then
I
the
would
melody
come up with
is
some
what
random cool
makes
riff
it
on a
stick.
guitar and then be like, oh, how can I put a beat over this? And then try to figure it out that way.
I mean, that I
Complete
think would be
opposite.
just making that's the soul of making music. I even get lost in it where I'm trying. We talk about making artistic stuff. It's like, don't get lost in just making dance music because like.
Well, once you start incorporating all the other elements, you're like, what's the message?
Yeah.
What am I trying to say to my audience? Like that becomes a huge other world where it's like dance music is like, you're here to dance. We're here to have fun. We're here to vibe.
Yeah.
But when you get into artistic stuff, it's like, who am I? Who are you? What do you take from what I'm saying, kind of a thing. So
no, it's a really good point. Actually, I don't know. You said something to me yesterday and just kind of like inspired me about something. And I went back and checked one of my tracks. I'm like, am I doing artistic stuff? And it was a track I wrote with a girl called No Surrender. And what I used to do about trance is it would just be these crazy intros, but the breakdown was where you'd write the music. It was like, you just
the feeling.
the feeling.
Yeah.
And so I went back and checked it, and I was like, oh, I was doing that, where you would start with the chords and you would
Pull
build
people
around
in
it.
with it, right?
Yeah, so you'd just be like, okay, I'm going to save the aggressive stuff, and then for the intro, I'm going to make the drop something danceable, but the middle is just that peaceful
Yes, trance is
musical
like
moment.
that, yeah.
Yeah, and it was cool to kind of reflect to where I came from and what that was. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't do that anymore, but that was nice. Just untethered to no beats, just like you say, laying chords down first, finding
I love that.
yourself,
Yeah.
putting cool elements, fucking every bit, and then leading it up to that drop point where you can almost, it's like a new section of a song. Boom! All right, now time to dance.
And that's sick composition too, because you can just fit it all into one song. Where it's like, okay, I know that like I have a hook and I have to pull people in, and I'm making them dance. But then in the middle of it, I'm gonna reveal who I really am and who I feel.
That's
I
what
mean?
trance
That's
is, and
super
that's what's
cool.
special
That
about
is trance,
trance.
actually.
Yeah, that's I loved that about trance, and it's exactly that. You would show it's like hard ass aggressive shit, like yo fuck you, and then it's like you pull yourself
then
over
it
for a
becomes
minute. You're like,
beautiful,
hey, here
right?
I am,
Yeah.
and then you close it
Yeah.
back up and just like kind of tie it all together.
Exactly.
That was cool.
That is cool. That is trance.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And I think it still is, but trance has changed so much lately. Genres. Do you mess with many genres? Or you just kind of play from the heart, go with the flow?
I play literally everything, dude. Like honestly, like my uncle's band that is really the only band I've been playing with lately, and I don't even play with them that much. It's like once in a blue moon. But they play a lot of like classic rock and country shit.
Yeah.
So I've been playing that more than anything, like in live settings, anyways. But
Yeah. I've been liking country more lately. Like
Yeah.
not like contemporary country, but like just the flair.
it's fun to
of
play.
just-
I don't
Oh,
really
cool.
love listening to it, but it's fun to play. And I will honestly say, like, new age country now is not getting. It's getting okay.
Not too
Okay,
bad. Eh?
okay.
Post
Yeah.
Malone's going all country. Jelly Rolls.
He
fucking
is.
pretty
Jelly
sweet.
Rolls
Yeah.
full
Beyonce
on.
apparently now too.
Beyonce too.
Yo,
Yeah,
okay,
you're right,
speaking of
yeah.
which, I read something. I don't know if there's any truth to this at all, but I heard that they basically bought that.
I've heard similar things.
Yeah.
About what? What are we saying?
Essentially, she bought the best country album, Oscar.
Well, people are saying because her
they paid
Like studio musicians and stuff?
no, so she
No.
basically wrote the album, and then Jay-Z, I guess, like paid like $20 million to streaming services to like play all this stuff, and like
Oh,
like,
and they just
basically
pushed the
bought
shit
yeah.
out of
we
it.
know completely true. That's what record labels do. Is they just I don't know if you guys
They
knew
basically
or heard
bought
of
all
this.
the streams.
But yeah, Spotify is like 30% owned by like Warner and stuff like that, and it came out recently.
It's
or
Sony
if you-
BMG, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And they just push their own artists to the
Yeah.
top of the streaming service. So they're kind of technically doing it already.
Yeah.
It's not based on like, hey, you just get good. It's like, no, our artists are going to do better than
And
you.
you said, are those awards like based on like just cold facts, like who
Well, it's
sold
best-
the most records?
Top selling, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So basically, they bought. I was reading some things saying that like Jay-Z spent like $50 million like buying all
push this record. Oh,
and
okay.
for her to win Best Country Album.
I would
She
believe
did.
it because
And I was like,
I've
yeah, I
seen
believe
crazier
that.
things happen at even lower levels.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, no, I know, man. Even when I had a track last year, I had that radio track. My buddy Addy that I did the track with, people were like harassing him to get radio play, and it was just like, hey, pay 5,000 here, we'll get it played here. Pay another 7,000, we'll have it played here into this. And they were just hitting with numbers, and it would get, if you fronted the money, it probably would get played there.
Yeah.
But just relentless attacks on like,
Yeah.
man, it is such a culture.
I mean, that's the music
vultures, man.
industry as a whole. That's how radio stations got airplay. It's called payola,
Yeah,
which
man.
is how you used to get your
But that's why it's-
songs played on the radio.
That's why
back
it's
in the
goof
day.
though, because if you look at sports, which are like huge, obviously, like you can't just buy the title.
Yeah,
But in mute,
that's that's arguable. The Dodgers pretty much just bought their title last
in
season.
baseball, you can, but hockey
Yeah.
and stuff, you can't do that. So it's like because there's salary cap and stuff. So it's like
see, baseball doesn't have a salary cap.
yeah,
They just deferred
they
payments.
just go
and
crazy.
they fielded
Yeah.
$1 billion
Yeah.
team last
Yeah.
year because of deferred payments.
Wow.
They
I mean,
owe
hockey
Shohei
was like
Ohtani
that,
money
yeah.
until he's 80 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
No way.
They signed him for a $700 and some odd million contract for 10 years, deferred his payment, or a 15 year, whatever his contract was, but
Yeah.
Loopholes.
deferred his payment for 10 years. So he earns $2 million a year. And then in 10 years, they owe him the rest, like $800 million or whatever the fuck.
But
it
he'll
was.
be like retired.
He'll be retired.
Yeah.
So basically, the Dodgers are saying, we want to have a dynasty now,
Wow.
win for the next 10 years, because we're going to pay him $2 million and use all that other money to get all the other superstars, which they did. They just
Yeah.
literally took everybody out of free agency last year.
And did it work?
They won the World Series last year.
No
the
way. So
first
the-
year they did it, they won
So
the
that
World
movie
Series.
Moneyball was very accurate.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can pay to buy the best players.
They
Well,
bought all the best
yeah.
players. They deferred payments. They skirted a bunch of rules. Technically, it was all legal what they did. It should not have been. It should have been against many rules. But they won
Yeah.
the World Series last year, and they're going to win again this
Well,
year. 'Cause they did
I
the same thing
heard-
again. They just stacked their team again.
It's interesting though, like because I've heard like you can stack the team, but it doesn't mean everyone's going to jive, and it doesn't mean
Yeah.
like it doesn't
No.
guarantee
Doesn't
like
mean shit.
yeah, you might have the best, but
Somebody could get hurt. Who knows what's going to happen, right?
Certain sports are
Interesting.
like if you look at basketball, you can run one line. Like your top line is your team,
Yeah.
basically, right? So it depends on the sport, I think. But
it's crazy.
same with like quarterbacks are huge in football.
That's
right?
still wild.
So-
Big gamble though. Like, hey,
Yeah.
we're gonna pay this dude $70 million, like yeah, or $700
No,
million. whatever he said.
700.
700 and like 60 something million over. I want to say like maybe 15 years or 10 years or something like that. But deferred, so $2 million a year for 10 years, and then they pay him out the rest of it. So basically, in 10 years, the Dodgers are going to have the worst team in baseball
Yeah.
because they're going to be paying Shohei Ohtani until he's fucking 100.
That's so crazy.
It's insane. It's not even fair.
No, that's
Because there's
wild.
also no salary cap in baseball, so teams who have the biggest payrolls are the ones who always win. Yankees, Dodgers.
Yeah, you look at the big cities,
yeah.
the big
Yeah.
franchises. They'll always make money. The Yankees could be the worst team, but they're making money because they're
So
in
the
New
Dodgers
York, right?
have,
So-
on average, aside from deferred payments, last year they had $1 billion. But I think let's just, I don't know exact numbers, but we'll just say the Dodgers have like a $500 million payroll
Okay.
every year, whereas like the Oakland A's they just moved. They're moving now, but have like a
Where are they moving to?
Vegas.
Hell yeah.
They have like $60 million payroll.
Okay.
So it's like so unfair. I don't know exact numbers, but like literally, like one team will have $500 million payroll year, the other team has $60 million payroll. It's like, how are you supposed to compete
Yeah.
against
you
each
can't.
other?
No. That's
Obviously,
joke.
this team's going to have all the superstars, and this guy's going to have all the nobodies.
Well, it's
right?
funny. That's how the world is, like capitalism to the max. It's
Yeah.
crazy. You know what I mean?
It's
And
like-
you see it even with artistry. It's
Yeah.
like it's not even about the music. It's who has
Well,
the
that
most
comes
money.
back to our original point.
Yeah.
And the point I was trying to make was like, you don't see that in other industries where you can just, well, you prove that you can. But you can't
Yeah.
just buy the title.
Yeah.
No,
Generally,
yeah, I guess you generally, but it
I
looks
guess
like
you can. Maybe.
yeah. No, but
You know
yeah.
what? In pretty much anything you talk about, if you got enough money, you can just buy it.
I was
Yep.
just thinking as a Canadian in hockey. In hockey, it's like the Rangers won the cup in 94, and then they said they bought their cup, so the salary cap was implemented where it's like, don't do that anymore. You can't do it. You can't just go get Mark Messier. You can't just go get Wayne Gretzky and shit. There's limits.
Right.
So like music, I kind of wish that existed too.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Like music's just a fucking wild west.
No.
Everyone's
I do agree
doing
with the salary
whatever
caps
the
because
fuck
it keeps
they
people
think.
honest and it keeps things a little more fair. But again, there's all
It
backdoor
creates
deals and
parity.
things
Oh, yeah.
and
And peer-
certain teams that superstars won't
Yeah.
go to, no matter what you pay them, and they
Oh yeah.
wanna go
Everyone
here.
got a
But
dollar.
picture a landscape, like a musical landscape, where we all had parity. We're all working with the same studio. We all go in. We've got Logic. We've got the same plugins. We've got
Yeah.
the same guitar. How cool would that be? Like to see what people create. Like there's no variation on what they're.
There's no limit to
There's
money.
no
You don't
advantages.
own that plugin.
Yeah,
for $100.
exactly. Yeah.
Everybody just like everything is just gray. We are
No, I-
no
Everything is gray.
emotion. We are all gray.
I don't think it would be
people.
homogenized like that, though. I think like it would force people to be.
Oh, it would. You'd probably
creative.
hear like
Especially in top 40, you'd be looking at like it'd be way more diverse. I
Oh,
think.
We are
you'd hear
neutral.
John's album in the next room. You'd be like, I don't want to sound anything like him.
Right?
Not using guitar.
Yeah.
In this whole thing. It
Yeah.
would just be abstract because you had to.
right. Yeah,
I
mean,
definitely see people.
I won't lie. Top 40 right now is way more exciting than it used to be. I
Oh, for
think
sure.
like look in the early 2000s and 2010s, it was like pretty bleak. But like right now, you got like like Doja Cat and SZA. They're so exciting. They're doing really cool things.
Yeah, they are.
And even Post Malone's doing whatever the hell he wants, and it's not bad.
I do think it's
good.
funny how like all of this, like the rap industry has shifted to country.
It has, yeah, yeah.
I think it's like the
Yeah.
most hated genre, so everyone's like, challenge accepted.
Yeah.
Can we make everyone like
maybe
it?
just that, but also
You know what?
nobody
Like
was
I said,
doing
it is
it,
getting
right?
better.
Except for
I'm not
T
really
Swift,
a country
right?
guy, but I do think it is getting better now. I do like that the hip hop world.
sold me for $50 is freaking it.
Yeah, that was cool. Everyone, you just learned you can pay to play and everything.
Yeah, money talks, people.
So how does that? How do we?
I wish I had any of it.
We gotta work some things out, I'm sure. Start an OnlyFans.
like favors.
Joel needs to start doing some voiceover work, apparently.
I'll do some voiceover work.
Boom.
I just want to be on a hot TV show, like a
All right,
anime.
before we wrap up, let's hit it with our theatrical voice. Hit it.
And like the low one?
Yeah. Just
Or
it's
just
a,
like-
the new movies coming out this summer.
The new movie's coming out this summer. Brant, Alex, and me on a boat.
Dicks in the wind.
Dicks in the wind in the middle of the
Coming
ocean.
summer
Coming,
2013.
pause, this summer.
All right, let's hear it. What
There
you
we
got?
go.
What you got? What you got?
I just did it.
Oh, you did.
Oh, I was just
I never
interrupting
did
the whole time. Sorry.
Was I not just doing it?
No,
Not good enough.
I'm not redo.
Well, apparently I suck at this.
All right, ready.
Brant's up.
This fall, 3 men,
Dicks in the wind again.
0 women.
Dicks in the wind too.
Very specific. Yeah.
Yeah.
Flappy birds.
No.
1 iPhone
One eye.
with Flappy Bird installed.
Who will come out on top?
Who will post it to Facebook Marketplace first?
Like, are we able to play it first
Yeah.
and test it out?
Can we
I'm
just
wondering.
borrow that?
I'm wondering if my husband, he's a very feminine
What's the name?
What's his
Sasha?
name?
His name is
Sully? Or?
Johansson.
No, it was
No,
the
that's
woman's name, wasn't
masculine.
it? It was just like
Stacy.
Courtney or
It
something.
was
Stacy.
Stacy.
Courtney.
I love
It's
it.
a very
I know a guy named
feminine
Courtney.
name, but
He
please
has
don't make
gangster
fun of
swag.
him.
Stacy.
I might be
And my daughter Bertrude.
Bastionette. What was his name?
Brocketh.
Brockett.
New running
Yo,
joke.
if you got a kid named Brockett, like you're gangster.
And if
I
you don't
care
know what
anyone
we're
says.
talking about, tune into the episode 3. Because we talked about that
Last week.
one whole week ago.
Last week, as you can tell by our.
Do it, Joe.
You can tell by our
last week.
Dratini on the front that this was a week
You can tell by
ago.
Dratini and the new
Yes.
records
Can we get a previously on
that it was last week.
Can we get a previously on Barchords?
Previously. Do it. You do it.
Okay. Previously on Borchords.
Wow.
Sorry, I fucked it up. All right, hold up. Previously on Barchords.
That was good.
That was okay.
All right.
Previously on Barchords.
I like it. A little
All
fire
right,
at the end.
Joel, will you
That's
hit us
tight.
with that? Tune in next time.
Tune in next time.
Oh, love this.
It's getting milky.
This is grade A
Oh, yeah.
content, people, okay?
Grade A.
Keep listening.
You know what I
because
hate? And when people when you're driving home, and we'll end on this, I guess. When you hit one of those sexy radio shows where they're just talking to you with the late night.
when we just start jacking
I'm like,
off
I just
in
want
the
to.
car.
Nope.
Oh, sorry.
Nope. Different.
Sorry, I thought we were
different.
talking about something else.
I just
So,
want to go to sleep, man.
are we
I don't
talking
know.
ASMR? Like radio?
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, you get that one station that's just so cozy, and you're like,
Oh,
fuck, I just
yeah.
want to close my eyes.
Yeah.
But you're like, I got 20 minutes to drive home. Like, shit. Why did I tune into this station, man?
You're
But you don't wanna
crashing
tune-
out,
Yeah, you're
yeah.
just like, oh,
Yeah.
shit, this guy sounds great. Just,
Yeah.
So tomorrow, just like he's got the voice by the fireplace.
Next
Okay,
up,
so-
Sade.
There's this other podcast I listen to, which is really funny. It's called Almost Friday. It's just these like
Love the name.
random dudes, but they start their podcast out all the time with like a meditation.
Oh,
But they always say like the dumbest shit. So I was listening to one the other day, and he's like, "Okay, so this is a meditation for all the people driving in their cars." And he's just like, "Now I want you to just close your eyes
Close your eyes.
no.
and just picture." And they have this
Picture a
music going,
beach.
and he's like, "Okay, now just press your foot down on the gas pedal as fast as you can." And they're just like
I feel they have to have some
basically
kind of
like
disclaimer.
giving instructions on how to like basically drive your car off the road, but like the most
Yeah.
calm like meditation app. Like it's so funny, dude.
I know. I'm just picturing like Eminem's Stan song, and just like
Yeah.
you're off the bridge.
Okay,
just-
that reminds me of a crazy story, and this can be off the record, like after the episode.
Poop.
But like
Poop, poop, poop.
poop,
Because it's off the record, so we can say poop.
penis.
Poop
Pen
penis.
15. I
Poop
mean.
out a
Pen
penis.
15. Let's go.
Yes.
Poop out a
I
penis.
think-
Pen 15. Okay,
No, but-
sorry. What's your story?
No, there was this guy who like loved Tesla a lot, and like the car's
Elon.
Tesla.
Elon.
Not Elon, some other
Oh.
dude, and he'd make these YouTube videos about how he loved the like auto drive on Teslas, like the
Yeah.
drive yourself or whatever. Long story short, he trusted it so much that one day he put the auto drive on, and like he was watching Harry Potter on the TV in his Tesla, and him and the car did not realize that a transport truck was vertical, lateral. It was across the road,
Yeah.
basically. The car drove like at 90 miles per hour into this transport truck, like under it. Decapitated the dude.
my god.
And the person who found him, as they walked up to the car, they could hear Harry Potter playing on the fucking TV in the car.
horrific.
While this guy had no head and the car was like ripped apart.
That's fucked.
Anyway, I just learned about that, but this was like a famous
That's scary as
YouTuber that
fuck.
Elon Musk actually tweeted him out and was like earlier, like he was like condolences for the losses, but earlier he thanked this guy for like the you know kind of the homework he did about the auto drive or whatever.
That
And,
dude, that's scary as fuck.
it's fucked up.
Well,
eh?
I've seen a thing on, and like I'll quickly tie into it. The auto drive.
Yeah.
There's something that happened, and it was going on in like Thailand and stuff. But the
Yeah.
Tesla cars were like auto driving, and then they just go from like 30 to 90.
just
and you were
crank
seeing
it.
these cameras. It'd be like on the dirt roads, and then these people just see these Teslas going, vroom, and it was just like plowing through stuff, and it was happening to multiple Teslas. I didn't want to find it funny, but I always just found like this. Some of the videos would just be kind of like chilling on this like side street, and this Tesla. Vroom. I was like, what the fuck? But the people just end up smashing into the craziest shit.
I just don't
It's
know.
like, yeah,
Who
fuck
are
that
you-
auto drive.
Who
man.
are you to trust that though?
Fuck
That's
that,
crazy.
bro.
No.
Like,
No way.
That was at the
control.
time when AI was like, here's the picture of a room, and it looked like this dilapidated mess of like. I loved this Instagram reel that we seen, and it was like we didn't have enough time with AI where it was funny. Like, it was funny for a month, and then it got scary good. You know what I mean? Like, it was hilarious for 1 month.
I do remember that.
Right? That 1 month was great.
Couldn't figure out videos at
Yeah.
all, and it was just like people were like melting faces.
Yeah.
There was when it was like the Toronto Blue Jays, like what it was like somebody like wrote like, oh yeah, show me a Toronto Blue Jays game, and it was just like literally like
Everything's melting,
everything's
right?
melting. Everything
It was nightmare fuel. I
But they
remember.
they must have put in the keyword like like ballpark and like hot dogs and hamburgers
Yeah.
and that. So it was like all just like this weird baseball shit of like melting faces and then people like shooting mustard at each other and like
Yeah.
their heads like exploding with like hot dogs and shit. And then obviously
Yeah.
they put like, oh, they won the game and the fireworks went off or whatever at the end. So there's like all these like huge explosions
Oh
and it
my
was just like
God.
so over the top and it's like, what
You're right.
is this, man?
Bad AI was crazy.
Right?
Yeah,
I love that.
was
It was
a
like-
great month.
It
You
was
gotta
like-
write that down as a top bad AI.
It was like, here's a room of everything that's never existed all together.
yeah, it's crazy shit.
Yeah, and then it got stupidly good like a month later.
It did, yeah. It's getting crazy.
Yeah. All right.
Great
What's
topics.
our send off, boys?
I'm just writing bad AI for next time.
I love bad AI.
I mean, we can.
There's a
We
lot
can
of bad AI we
include
can
that.
talk about too. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like the deep fake stuff going on too. It's been
They're
going
so
wild.
fun.
Hey.
though.
Save it for next week.
All right.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah, you're not wrong.
Signing
All
off.
right, send
Okay.
off. Farewell.
Okay, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to episode. What number is this? 4?
400.
Episode 4 of Parkour.
Parkour.
It's goodbye.
Perfect send off.